welding up the inside of the truss today. Got the old Yes Welder 250. We're gonna be TIG welding the inside, just a little bit of it. I don't want to pull these in too much. And then once I put it on the Sterling, then I'm gonna weld the outside and hopefully pull it all back out. Gonna be using the Outlaw leather hood with the snake belly lens. I'm really liking it so far. I've done stick and MIG welding with it. So we're gonna see how TIG welding goes, and let's see. Okay, so that last time lapse, I believe, ended with me trying to tack up the arms, the lower control arms. So we had a little predicament, and so I tacked these up. Everything's tacked except for that one that fell down over there. But the problem was, I thought it was going to be 40 inches from that point to this point with all this thread in the tube. And I wanted that because then if I decide to stretch the front even further, once I would get coilovers or something like that, I would at least have 2 inches to do that there. But turns out now the link is actually 42 inches long instead of 40 inches. So I need to plug that into the 4-link or the 3-link calculator and see what that comes out with. So yeah, like I said, I only put one little tack on this arm and I just started to flex the system out and it broke. So the upper link is right there, and then this custom track bar mount I made is tacked up as well with the track bar. I had to do a little pipe welding on this open root. Not the best, I'm not a pipe welder. But 60-10 root, ground it down, and then did a 60-10, or I mean a 70-18 pass. So the track bar is looking pretty good, and I could obviously drill more holes here for adjustment. Same thing on this mount. I got plenty of room. This is with the steering box full lock. I still have plenty of space one day to put a heim joint or something like that there. Once again, this is as cheap as I could really do this. I got all the heim joints for like $200. I was able to find a deal on Facebook. So then this full lock this way, it does clear pointing towards the steering box. So plenty of clearance there. And then as with pinion angle, so I didn't want to get too crazy, simply because the U-joints, I'm thinking will be fine, and eventually I want to get a different transfer case anyway, so it'll probably get pushed further back and the driveline angles will be even better. But let me try and level. So that's roughly level, so you could see my caster right here going up. Definitely not close to the whatever, the 4 degrees stock. It's probably something less than that. And then there's the pinion angle. Let me grab the drive shaft real quick. I do have a drive shaft that's 2 inches longer, so I should use that. So that's the drive shaft angle at roughly ride height. Might be a little bit higher. So compression, it's not going to be that well, but when I droop, because these long arms are, oh wait, actually I messed that up. So we're going to have to see. We might have to play around with these links. I might need to make them longer, splice a little section right in the middle again, a few inches, which sucks, but it can be done. So I'm rambling now. I have to weld all this up and weld these perches on. We have a lot of welding ahead of us, but once I do all that welding, then we could maybe try and see how the coils sit in there, what the ride height is, figure out some janky mount for the shocks, because eventually I want to cut some type of hoop in the fender there so a bigger shock can go in. These are just 2.5 inch shocks, and I'm probably going to be at like a 6.5 inch lift at the end of this. But yeah. Okay, a lot of stuff has happened since the last clip. I fully welded all the brackets on the axle, and as well as the frame. The frame was a pain because I'm using a stick welder and it's very difficult. Here's the track bar bracket, and right now I have it flexed up on the other side. This isn't full droop. I mean, well, it will be with these crappy shocks. But once we replace those, then it should be good. So that's how much stuff it can give, which that distance to there is crazy. If I ever stuff it that much, I'm gonna be extremely surprised. We just have a hair of daylight through this lower link to the frame. So that's basically as much as it can go. I just wanna check the other side to make sure. So it's definitely going to be quite sendy with the track bar and the steering. I'll probably have a lot of bump steer, and I'll probably have to drill some more holes in these brackets here just to clear that. But there's the upper link. It stuffs in there really nicely right by the motor. So I'm actually, so far I'm pretty impressed. I do not know how coils are gonna sit in these. Like I said, this is offset, so we'll have to see. The driveline angle could definitely be improved. Something like that. Which, of course, this side will be drooped down more. But that's not that bad. And then we have to see what full droop looks like. Let me just lower, I guess let me just lower this down and see how it goes. So when I droop, hopefully that drive shaft doesn't fall out. Okay. So that's definitely not full droop. But that's looking pretty good so far. That drive line angle is definitely sucky. So my 3-link and 4-link calculations suck. That's about as max. A little bit more on the drive line angle would definitely help it for sure. I believe that's because my upper link is shorter than my lower links. I think I need to either shorten up my lower links or lengthen my upper link. That would then tilt it more when it has droop. So that kind of sucks. You know, it's definitely a work in progress, but at least the axle will be in with long arms. Let me take a look at what that steering geometry will look like. I guess it's not going to be that bad. If you look at that point right there, down to the steering point, they're going to be similar angles. Good enough for me. Okay, so we made shock mounts. It's a little janky. Spring angle still sucks. Is what it is. Everything's now bolted up except for the axle shafts and everything. So I gotta do that and delete the ABS, which is pretty simple. I believe this line just has to connect to these two lines, and these two lines need to connect to each other. So that's pretty simple. Then I have a new brake booster from a 99 Dodge 2500 van. It has a bigger bore and a similar size stroke. So I'm hoping that it's gonna work out. Here it is, right in here. So yeah, that's what it looks like. It's pretty cool. You pop this hood, here's the brake line. So like I said previously, you just have to connect them. These are the fronts, and then this is the back, and they work pretty good. I did not have the correct adapters on hand, so I just cut these lines and reflared them. But you could definitely find the right adapters and plug them right up, and they should work. Then with this master cylinder, so the stock lines did plug right into it. The only modifications that I had to make was that little plate just to hold this proportioning valve. Just touches a little bit because the diameter of this is bigger, so you have to cut that a little bit. That's no big deal. And I messed around with the push rod in there, just messing with different lengths. But other than that, that's working good. Then what else? So my limiting factor right now is shocks. Simply, well, because of that janky mess. So, and same thing in the rear, my shocks were actually bottoming out here. They're mounted on top of the axle, on top of the truss, so it's pretty high up, and they're just in the stock location. So I put smaller shocks on just so I could drive it around and it doesn't bottom out. But yeah, overall, I'm extremely impressed for the amount of money I have into this thing. $1,000 for the 1-ton swap, and it's looking pretty good. Once we get some big tires, some new shocks, and maybe some hydro assist, she will definitely eat. That is for sure.
go. There you go. Just try to go slow again. You're not caught in anything yet. Oh, you got that big rock. Yeah, bump it a little bit. You got that big rock and you went higher. Bump it a little bit. There you go. On the bottom of the rock, I think. Try it again, hold up. Come this way a little bit. Huh. You're nailing your sidewall so hard, dude. Watch out.